My button's too tall. It won't fit in the frame. I don't like that. Luna, can you give us a weather update? It's gonna rain. Y'all don't mind me. My skin has been doing something crazy because I've been drinking a lot of soda this last week. Don't judge me. I'm only human. And some other things, but that's for another video.
Wait, first of all, you're not gonna speed past that like you didn't just say what you just said.
What's good in the YouTube hood? It's your girl Luna Nova, and I am back with another video for you guys today. Y'all were loving the reincarnation video so much that I decided to go ahead and drop a part 2 for you guys. So let's get into it. Now, if you didn't notice from part 1, there is something special about these babies. And when I say these babies, I mean these kids that are under 10, really under 5 if you ask me personally. But there's something about these kids that have not quite reached adolescence yet that is so interesting, the way that their mind works and what they truly remember about being here from another life. Now in this video, I'm not going to do as much talking because it is a part 2 and I did a lot of explanation in the first video. So if this is your first video, definitely go back and watch part 1 so part 2 will make a little more sense, especially if you are new to the whole rabbit hole of spirituality and reincarnation. Today we are going to go over a few evidence videos of reincarnation that to me are irrefutable. You can't argue with me about this. Facts are facts. And the reason why I would say that a lot of these cases are irrefutable are because of the fact that people are being locked up for these murders to the point where their murderers confess and actually do jail time. Real jail time for a real murder that really happened. You can't deny that. These babies are coming back and they are coming with a vengeance. These babies are coming back and they are doing the Lord's work, if you ask me. Now in this first video, we are going to go over the well-known story of the Pollack twins. Now these twins are a set of girls who were reincarnated from their sister who passed before them. And when they came back during their lifetime, they had some very interesting characteristics of their sister who had passed before them.
This is a story about the Pollack twins and how people think they were reincarnated. In 1957, 11-year-old Joanna and 6-year-old Jacqueline were crossing the street to go to church. And while they were crossing the street, they were struck by a driver and killed. Their parents, John and Florence, were devastated by the accident. John always believed in reincarnation, and he would tell Florence that the girls are going to come back again, but as twins. Florence was a strong Catholic and didn't believe in reincarnation at all, but then she fell pregnant. And 1 year later, after the accident, she delivered twin girls. They were named Jillian and Jacqueline Pollack. The twins started showing a lot of similarities to their late sisters, like birthmarks that were on their bodies. When the girls turned 4, they started talking about toys that they had never played with before. They were describing the toys that their late sisters Joanna and Jacqueline would play with. Their mom, Florence, still didn't believe they were reincarnated until this happened. The girls were so frightened by cars. Jillian and Jennifer would even tell each other how they got killed by a car.
Now, I don't know about you guys, but myself personally, outside of doing my thing here on social media and running my business, I am also a nanny. So I spend a lot of time with the youth, as well as being a former school teacher. So I spend a lot of time with the youth and get to know them on a very personal level. And I've had some of my... There goes that thunder. I've personally had a lot of my nanny babies tell me some interesting stories about who they used to be. I've even had some of my little girls tell me that once they used to be boys and vice versa. But nonetheless, how passionate they are about who they used to be, I just don't feel like kids can be making up certain things. Now, yes, certain things you have to take with a grain of salt because kids will be kids and they will make up things and their imaginations will run wild. Yes, I know this. But however, not every child is making up things. Some of these things are coming from memory, not just stories off the top of their head. I mean, after all, we are talking about children. Not many of them truly have the mental capacity and attention span to make up a story in such grave details. Let's be real. Let's be so fucking for real. Kids that I have had them share their stories with me, they have told me again in grave detail about who they were and why they chose to come back here and who they chose to come back as. Again, do you really think that every child has the attention span and that much of an imagination to truly just come up with a grand story like that? I think the fuck not. Again, it comes from memory. It comes from living and experiencing that life. They're telling who they were. Now, this next video that we're gonna go over from PG Stories Official, I think is so cute. I think this story is so cute because the little girl said that she chose to come back because daddy was the handsomest and mommy was the cutest. Her words, not mine. But I just thought it was so adorable. Now, her story on how she ventured back was a little dark, even for a toddler, I will say. But the family that she chose to come back to apparently is the one that she was meant to be with because she is happy now.
So you're saying that the person that killed you had the devil with him?
No, he got possessed by him.
Really?
And he was watching him.
So is that why he gave you the lollipop that killed you?
Yeah. So, like, for example, he was like, there was poison in it. And it had bugs in it.
Mm-hmm.
So I remember.
But that was when you died, right? That's when you saw that? And then later on, did you see anything good? Like...
No, nothing good, only bad.
So then how did you come back?
I didn't come back.
No, but you're here now as a girl, right?
Yeah. I don't know how I came back. Then I saw God and he said I should be a girl, not a boy.
Really?
Yeah, and then he took me back alive. That was my afterlife.
Yeah?
But that was nice of God to like revive me as a girl. I did not.
You didn't like being a boy?
Yeah.
Why not?
Because I don't like boy hair.
You don't like boy hair?
Yeah.
So when you came back to this life, did you choose your siblings? Like, did you say you want Marley to be your sister?
Yeah.
Yeah? And how did you choose?
I told God that when I died.
Really? How did you see her? You saw her already here?
Yeah.
And then you were like...
I was like,
you want her?
I was like, God, Daddy, can I have a different family? And he said yes. And I pointed out the family Dad was with them, Mom was with them,
Mm-hmm.
and Molly and Tristan. I pointed at the family and he said okay. And he said, are you sure? And I said yes.
Really? So do you know why you chose them?
Because I like Daddy, because he was the handsomest and Molly was the cutest.
Really?
She was like 3 years old.
That's so cute.
That's me. And I said, twin.
Oh my
But she was
god.
actually my twin. She was still be my sister.
Exactly. What did God say to you when you died? Do you remember?
He said, don't die, live. Find a brand new family. You'll be happy.
Really? And are you happy now?
Yeah.
Do you feel like you're happier now than in your last life?
Yeah.
I'm glad. I'm very glad.
Now, a huge conspiracy theory that a lot of people in the spiritual community have is that birthmarks are a insight to how you may have passed in a past life. And to an extent, I do believe this. In a lot of these videos, you will see birthmarks are a huge thing that comes up when it comes to reincarnation. And the placement of them definitely makes the difference. So think about where your birthmarks are. Do you have any on your head? Do you have any on your chest? Do you have any on your legs? Do you have any, period? Maybe you not having any birthmarks could be a sign that you are a new soul in this universe and that you're gonna have to come back here a few times if you don't get things right this lifetime. In these next two videos, we are going to get into how birthmarks were an insight to how these people were unalived in a past life. And yes, I'm gonna say unalive because I'm not trying to get demonetized for saying certain things. Don't like it? Scroll.
Physical evidence of reincarnation, part 1. This person was born with a cluster of birthmarks that you can see right here. Starting at around age 3, he used to point to that birthmark and say that that is where he was shot in his last life. He made other statements about his past life that lined up with a man in his village who had died the year before as a victim of an unsolved murder. Now, guess how he died? Yep. That guy was shot at close range. This figure right here, this drawing was done by a doctor who examined the post-mortem report of the victim. He had no knowledge of the birthmark of the kid claiming to be this guy. So yeah. Now let's look at them side by side, because holy shit. If you want more information on this case and others like it, you can also get this book for yourself. There is an academic version that's a little more expensive because it is details of every scientific aspect that went into this research and gives all the evidence in great detail.
This boy living in the Golan Heights literally solved a murder by remembering his past life. When he was 3 years old, he started telling everybody around him that he had been murdered in a past life by an axe wound to the head. Oddly enough, he was born with a red, elongated birthmark on top of his head. The Druze people, the ethnic tribe that he belonged to, had a long tradition of reincarnation, so they took him pretty seriously. A group of people, including an Israeli physician named Eli Lash, became very interested in his story, so they started bringing him to villages to see if it would spark any kind of memories of his past life. And by the third village, he was able to point out his former home, and he knew the exact layout of the house. As he walked around the house, he began to remember his name, and it was the same name of a man who had disappeared from the house they were in a year before the boy was born. A group of neighbors started to form around the people, and the boy called one of them out by name and said he was the man who murdered him and buried his body outside of the village. He led the village elders out to a pile of rubble under which his body was buried, or a body was buried, with an apparent axe wound to the head. When he named the murderer, he was visibly panicked, and after all of this, he confessed to the crime.
Now, as I expressed in part 1, past life regression can be a bit fuzzy for kids as they get older, just for the simple fact that, again, they are aging more, so they tend to forget what happened in their past lives, as well as the fact that, unfortunately, this world gets to them, and we're told to leave our imagination behind as we get older and grow into our adolescence, and to leave childish things behind. But in this next video, we're going to get into an older child. When I say older, I do mean closer to that preteen age, not necessarily toddler age like most of these videos that you'll see today. But this child remembers being in a very bad car accident that caused her to be unalived. And some of the details as she got older were still clear and very vivid, down to the year that she passed away. And when mom did her research on all of the information that she gathered from her daughter, her flabber was gasted by what she found.
So I know I have told this story of my daughter telling me she had another mom before me, but now I have the story. When she was 5, she told me, let's pretend that you're my real mom. I was like, I am your real mom, like biologically. She's like, no, silly, you're my new mom. My real mom died a long time ago. And then I came back, and now you're my new mom. So like a year or so ago, I questioned her, like, do you remember that family? She's like, yeah. I said, okay, tell me some details. Like, what happened? How'd you die? And she's like, my dad's name was Samuel. I can't remember my mom's name, but it kind of like ended in like Tina, maybe like Christina, Valentina, something like that. She said, I died in 1942 in a car accident. We were turning left, and I was sitting all the way on like the right side, the passenger side. And she had a brother and a sister, and they were sitting middle and outside. Not outside, driver's side. And they turned, but they didn't see that a vehicle was coming, and the vehicle hit her side and killed her and her mom because her dad was driving. So I know not to just like take a child's word for what it is, but like I do like note it and move on. So I went to my phone, typed all those details. That way, like, she's making this BS up. I'm gonna catch her in a lie. I want to say like last year, like she's 9 now. So I asked her probably last year, when she was 8. Do you remember the story about like your past life? Do you remember any of it that you told me? And she was like, yeah, I remember some stuff. It's still kind of fuzzy, but yeah, I remember. Mind you, over a year has passed since that story. So I go in my phone notes and I look over it, and then I ask again, like, what do you remember? Knowing damn well she ain't gonna remember that. She said, I died in 1942 in a car accident. We were turning and a car hit my side of the car, and I died and my mom died, but my dad and my brother and sister lived. So I said, why didn't y'all have seatbelts on? This kid looked at me and said, there were no seatbelts back then. What? Like, take it how you want. She ain't making that shit up. She's not. I mean, you can say she was, but she's not.
When kids are showing excitement about different things that they remember that they really shouldn't remember, I think you should pay attention, because again, that could be evidence that that child is calling back certain memories from a past life. Maybe it could be a certain car that was passed down in the family or that they see on the street. It could be a movie. It could be so many different things that a child says that they remember. And of course, they're a kid. They're a child. So certain things, especially if it's older, well past their lifetime, they shouldn't be remembering it. But how are they? In this next video, we're gonna go over how a toddler remembers a certain red car that he remembers from a past life that definitely shook up his mother. Let's get into it.
4.5-year-old son just told me that before he was in mommy's belly, that he was great-grandma's husband. He went on to tell me that he bought her a car, that he bought my grandmother, his great-grandmother, his wife, whatever. I'm so fucking confused. That he bought her a red car, and he went on to tell me this story about how he bought her this red car and how he brought her outside to see it and told me that they had children together, that they had one boy. My father was their only boy. I messaged my dad to ask him if my grandma had ever owned or had a red car. She did. My grandpa bought it for her. And it was the last car she ever drove because she wrecked it. And she hasn't drove since. And the fact that he told me all of this and like it checks out, and this is information that I didn't even know. What do you do with that?
Now, as I stated before, all of these children cannot be making up the things that they are recalling. Not even just children. There are adults that truly do remember their past lives in grave detail. Very descriptive details, down to the way that they used to wear their hair, to the music that they used to like, foods that they used to eat. And again, not all of these details necessarily line up with who this person is during this lifetime. So again, how could they recall tasting food in France, but they live here in America and have never been overseas? How can someone remember Chinese characters and write them out like in part 1? How can a child remember how to write out Chinese characters if they're only a toddler and they have no Chinese roots according to this lifetime? Not everybody is making these things up. And again, if you ask me, it's irrefutable. Some of the things that we remember as far as skills, again, music, food, culture that doesn't belong to us during this lifetime, we remember and have such a deep connection to. There's a difference between appreciation and appropriation, but that's another video. But these people remember and appreciate and express their connection to these cultures, ideas, and things that they used to experience. It's coming from memory. It's not coming from thin air. We're gonna go ahead and wrap this one up for Reincarnation Part 2. If you guys are interested in a Part 3, I am going to be doing some more deep diving to see if I can find some real good in-depth videos for you guys, because this is definitely an interesting topic that I could make a few parts on, so I definitely will. But if you guys want to see that, let me know down in the comments. And if you're not a member yet, why not? Hit that notification bell, turn on the membership so you can request for the next video topic, okay guys? And as always, I have to put this in every video. Please do not get scammed by scammers. There are a plethora of scam accounts, especially on TikTok. If you guys are looking for me on TikTok, I'm not there. I have 2 accounts, yes, but I do not post on there. So if you see a new account popping up with this face, posting content, it's not me. It's a scammer, especially if they reach out to you trying to solicit you for any products or services, especially for readings. That is a scammer. Please do not get scammed out of your money. If you are actually looking for me and legitimate me, the only place that you can get in contact with me is on my Etsy page. And again, I have that linked here on my YouTube channel. So there is no confusion about how to find the kid, okay? Okay. But with that being said, again, we're gonna go ahead and wrap up this video so I can get into some of these part 2 for the folklore videos that you guys have been yanking me by my edges for, okay? Be patient. Be very mindful, very demure. No, I'm just playing. Y'all had that in my head, okay? Y'all have had that in my head. Y'all are using that word like it's a new one, but I digress. Make sure you drink your water, mind your business, and stay prayed up and protected out here. And as always, Luna loves you.